Welcome to the Patrice Brantley Podcast Show, where helping others is the name of the game. And on this show, we push purpose, positivity, and personal growth. Today, we have the pleasure of chatting with Miss Trisha Grapner. I am over the moon excited that she will be joining us today. But before we get in, y'all know I got to run through what this podcast is about. I got to make some announcements. And I got to remind y'all, come on and follow me, get some good stuff going in your world. All right. On this podcast, we talk about positivity, purpose, and personal growth. We also discuss mental wellness in education, small businesses, and in everywhere in between. The announcements. That's right. I need you to get close and hear this. Join me for the virtual life burnout support group starting May 1st at 6 o'clock. That's right. Put it on your calendars. Tell a friend. Send this to somebody else. Tell them, come on, girl. You know you burned out. Come on, guy. Let's go get us some things to work on. Let's do it together. Join me May 1st at 6 o'clock. And make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe on the YouTube channel, which is the 3S Movement. And not only that, make sure you follow me, Patrice, the voice of purpose now on Facebook. Make sure you follow me on Facebook one more time again, the 3S Movement. Make sure you follow me on IG, Patrice Brantley now, and on YouTube, 3S Movement. And if that wasn't enough, y'all can even follow me on LinkedIn. Okay, that's at Patrice B3S Move. All right, we got to get into it, y'all. I know y'all had me giving y'all everything, but I got to get into our guest. Miss Grapner, honey, she got it going on. I'm telling you, her story is just beautifully written. And I love the way she takes us through the twists and the turns of her life as a business owner. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. It's literally an honor. So I appreciate you taking your time to chat with me.
I am overjoyed because I love your story. But I mean, for me, I know what it is, but I want you to tell other people, what's your story?
So where do I start? Like if you look at the big picture, I started in poverty. I started in abuse and mentally draining relationships and the generational trauma, right? That's where we all started. You can literally overcome anything as long as you have your mind to it. And I didn't know that's what I was going to do with my life when I was younger, but now I can look back and see that. So where did my story start? Right before I got married, my second time, I went through some serious serious depression. Why am I depressed? I'm out of the relationship that was, torturing. I'm happy. I'm in love. I literally have the dream life with this new man and I'm depressed. Like what gives, right? So I started painting for fun because everyone was doing it and it seemed to be fun. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Picked up a paintbrush for the very first time, posted my picture online, and out of nowhere, all my friends were asking me to teach them how to paint. Like, you guys, I have no idea what I'm doing.
So wait a minute here. You took literally your pain and pushed it into a purpose of painting.
I did.
And lo and behold, that one painting pushed you into a new level of promise.
It did. It did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So now
So
we
I had
have,
friends.
uh-huh.
Go ahead. So I had friends asking me to teach them how to paint. And I'm like, you guys, I don't know what I'm doing, but bring some beverages. Come on over. We'll do this thing at my house. We'll have some fun. Posted a few group photos of a few friends that came over like after we did our little events. And I mean, they were rough. I had no idea what I was doing. We're sitting at my kitchen table. I've got Pinterest pulled up on my laptop. I'm like, yeah, let's paint this. I don't know. Let's go for it. And it seemed like overnight I started having people message me, I want to host a paint party. Will you teach me and my friends how to paint? How much do you charge? Do you travel? And I was like, oh my God, this is an
Oh,
opportunity. Like
yes,
it's
it
happening.
is.
It's happening. So I sat at my kitchen table. I searched logos. I searched names. I didn't want to to me, a brand is where you have to start. You have to start with a logo and a name. I 100% believe that still to this day. And I have no business background. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know what I find appealing when I look at other places, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting at my kitchen table. I'm searching logo or I'm searching names, and I like the canvas creations. Like that's just fun, but that was already taken. So I had to add something to it. I'm like, by you, for you, by me, to you. And it just Canvas Creations for You LLC was created just like that at my kitchen table. At the time, I loved paint trees. Those were my favorite things to paint, and everyone really struggled with them. So it resonated with me like, this is what I'm good at, and this is what I can help you get good at. Like, that's kind of like where it was. So my original logo was a tree with one of the branches and a swirl like a C. So Canvas
Okay.
Creations for You. Had nothing to do with paint, but if you know me, then you knew it, you know? So I created my logo, created a name, and made a business page. And then boom, I started booking parties. Within 9 months, I no longer could keep my full-time job because I was booked. I had so many parties going on. My husband was like, just quit your job, go into this full force and see what happens. And I'm like, huh, like that's terrifying, right?
Yes.
So in a 1 week period, I put my notice in on my job. I signed a lease on a brick and mortar building, and we found out we were pregnant all in the same week.
Holy moly. Wait a minute. Wait. Wait a second. We go from I'm doing this to get over my past to boom, we're now booking people back to back to back. They're calling people saying, book with her,
Mhm.
find her, you're going to enjoy this experience. We've taken this whole experience, now we're growing. And now here we go. We have a business formed, a building, and a baby. Talk about
Yes.
three major B's all at one time.
Yes, it was
Wow.
terrifying. Like I was terrified, but I'm not a quitter. You know, I've literally been on my own since the day I was 18. Again, generational trauma. My mom was obviously going through some mental things, gave me the boot. I had 6 months of high school left. I had a full-time job. I graduated high school. I had my own place, everything in that first 6 months of being 18. So failure has never been an option to me. I mean, it's never been an option. You know, my firstborn child had tons of physical disabilities and no one knows why. And I remember back then, before I knew anything, you know, everyone would ask, like, how do you do it? Like, you know, we were at the hospital weekly, daily almost for appointments and surgeries and procedures. And everyone was like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know any other way. You know, like failure isn't an option. You know, this was
That's
given to
it.
me. So here we go. So that's kind of how I approached this whole business thing. I was like, well, it was given to me, so we're going to make it work. So I built my brand even bigger. I got very involved with my community, which I've lived there my whole life. So it was kind of nice to have local support and people that knew me but didn't know me started
Gotcha.
supporting me, and the businesses, you know, it was a really close-knit group of businesses and entrepreneurs, and you know, I think that really helped. So I built my brick and mortar. I even got uh the local news station came out and did like a free news piece on me opening, which they're like, hey, we're gonna come out tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm not opening for like a month. They're like, well, make it look like you're ready to open and we'll be there at 5 a.m.
Oh, wow. So wait
And
a
that,
minute. Where other people are paying for publicity, literally you got a free news like shout out, here we are, grand opening piece.
yes, yes, everything
Wow.
happens for a reason. I'm telling you, like
Amazing.
I have been blessed, and I'm a spiritual person. I'm not like a church going person, but I'm there, you know, like I'm there. I just don't have a name for it, you know.
Gotcha.
And I've built I built my business with zero debt,
Come
zero debt.
on. That's what I'm talking about.
And like I said, everything just
Yes.
always happens for a reason. So, you know, I had this news crew. They came out all the while no one knew I was pregnant yet because we're hiding all of that with all this going
Oh,
on.
wow.
And then I had a grand opening event where I was like, okay, I have to make enough money at this grand opening event to pay my first month's rent because I don't have, you know, I hadn't had anything going on there yet. We were
Oh,
just getting the space ready. We were knocking down walls and, you know, putting in flooring and doing all the stuff. And so I had raffles and like, you know, cotton candy and things for sale and things like that. Everything was a ticket. I sold enough tickets at that grand opening event to pay my first month's rent and put all my money back in savings that I'd spent on my building.
whoa.
And that was all just word of mouth talking about an event. I wasn't marketing it. I didn't know anything about marketing yet. You know, like I was just like, hey, Delaware, come see a new wine and sip canvas. like a wine and paint, sip and paint, whatever they're called these days.
Uh-huh.
Opening soon in Delaware, and it got that much traction. So I did that for years. That was in 2015 is when I started a business. 2016 is when I signed the lease on the brick and mortar. 2017, I had my little girl.
Oh, wow.
And I went to work, back to work after a week later, and I wore her to every single party for that first year. We were nursing, and it was like, it's my business. I'm my own boss.
So
Who's going to
she
tell me how to
literally
do
is
it?
a part of the business.
She is, and she's a little artist, and she's a little social
Wow.
butterfly. Like, you can tell she was raised in this like business sector. And then COVID hit, right?
Wow.
So COVID hit in 2020, and everything had to close. I had to close. This was my only source of income. Like, this was my income. This was my job.
Is it? Okay.
So I pivoted again. I joined up with other businesses, and we made these bags. I had a different name for them every time, but they would put an item from their business in this bag, and I would pay them $1 per item. I sold the bags all throughout the community for, $50, $60. And the community loved it because it was a craft in a bag. It was a snack in a bag. It was a family memory in a bag. There was all things in there for you to do with your family, products to try, to sample. There's a paint kit in there that I did on a Zoom with them. Like, they could join me live and paint in their own home. And those went really well. We did 5 or 6 of those, and that kept me open during COVID. That was enough to pay my rent and keep my family going during COVID.
Talk about, for this experience, I think for a lot of people, we don't realize how deep COVID hit people. And
Oh,
then to hear you talk about COVID literally took away your brick and mortar and having to pivot in that moment and say, let me get back, let me bring this back and focus. And as you're doing this, you took something that other people wouldn't have really thought about. Most people think me, my, I. You thought, I got to work team wise here so that we can make this happen. And as they're coming in on the team front, you're taking this and saying, you know what? Let me gift your business to somebody else. And
mm-hmm.
I love that. And that's why I love to share this part of my platform with other businesses, because people don't realize, if I can help you somewhere along, even if you don't say, hey, she was amazing, I had an experience with her.
Yep.
And that experience is going to bring that person back to your mind at some point and say, are you looking for somebody for mental wellness? Check out Patrice. Are you looking for this?
Yes.
Check, so I know if I'm looking for somebody with a paint and a twist, I'm going to look for Miss Graffner. Take a
Right.
minute to go and say, I'm going to find Trisha. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I want to be a part of that experience because I know her. And in the midst of this, COVID happens, you pivot,
Mm-hmm.
and then what happens? Because now I'm hooked. You got me hooked now. You
So
got me hooked.
then, in the midst of all of this, we celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary during COVID. 2020 was our 5-year wedding anniversary, and we got married on a beach. So not a lot of people came. No big deal. We'll have a party later. So this was our party year, right? And
Yes.
everything shut down. And I was like, darn it, we're going to do this regardless. So again, I love working with local businesses. So there was a new local wedding venue that had just opened right before COVID. And I was like, hey, I just want to do a party. Like, I don't want to do anything. Are you guys still open for that? She's like, well, we're not supposed to be, but I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I want to have a party. And if you want
That's
to
it.
come, you're coming. So we did our wedding anniversary party, and it was still intimate, because not everyone was comfortable coming out, and that's okay. But this wedding venue was still booking. And that was the only venue in my town at the time. And she was booked during COVID. Light bulb,
Wow.
Delaware needs another event venue, right?
Exactly.
So across the parking lot from my brick and mortar, there had been an empty building for about a year. And I was like, I can see this building. I can see it turning into an event side and a paint side. I can have 2 businesses running out of the same building. And then I got a
I like
grant. I received a business grant. That was my sign. That was my sign that it was time to
that.
move the business and open up a second business, pretty much. So I received a business grant, and we put all of that into the remodeling of this new business. So again, I'm still debt free, and I've opened 2 businesses now.
I see. Awesome sauce.
Um, so Canvas
Yes.
Creations moved to one half of the building, and I opened up a splatter room on top of a paint studio. Then Creations Venue opened on the other side of this building which was a small event venue for 50 people. It had a full kitchen, an outdoor patio, a large 75-inch screen TV. All that was for you to use. And that started booking up too. So then I have two streams of income.
I love that.
And I'm helping other businesses still because I had guest artists come in. I would let, local photographers and other businesses that needed somewhere to use my
Mhm.
space for free in return for advertisement or tagging me or whatever, because it's all about helping each other,
That's
like
it.
you rise by helping others. Like
I
you get
love
there
that.
by adjusting the other queens and kings crowns.
That's it. I
Yep.
think it's beautiful to hear this because as I'm hearing you say this, like you said, you're debt free in your business. You're
Yeah.
study helping other people, and it's such a beautiful experience as I'm hearing this. So if I had to give you that tool that's in your toolbox, your business toolbox is relationships. That's the one
It
thing
is.
that I am constantly hearing as you're talking because so many people don't realize it's not just about the money.
Mm-mm.
Excuse me, it's not just about the money, it's the relationships that you're able to pull and say, hey, I know someone who does a wedding situation. Let me go to
Mm-hmm.
them. Oh, I know somebody who has this space. So you want to build those relationships, especially in a day when everybody is so, how do I want it? I don't really want to deal with people.
Yeah.
That seems to be the piece. And everybody's like, leave me in my space. I'll be okay. And it's
Yeah.
like, but you still need the people. This is how this whole structure has been created. We need to connect with those people. So I
Absolutely.
said your tool was relationships. What would you say your tool was for you in your toolbox?
It's funny. I've never really thought of that before you asked me. And the more I think about it, it's my husband. Like he is my backbone. He is my number one supporter. He is my number one resource. He is the one I bounce ideas off of. And he'll tell it to me honestly. He'd be like, babe, that painting, you've done better. Okay.
Wow.
Like he keeps me honest. And I don't know that I could have done this without him. I'm sure I could have, but he's definitely made it easier. And again, it's that relationship, that partner. It helps to have one.
Yes.
You could do it alone, but it's so much easier with the right people behind you.
Yes, you've said a mouthful right there because that to me says a lot. People don't realize, especially in a day of me, mine, I, that it's so much easier with we, us, and ours in
Yes.
this process. So I'm gonna take a little quick turn because I've already picked out a couple things out of this interview for myself that I'm like, yes, partnerships, pivoting, connections. I picked out a couple for myself. So now, what's one thing now that you've figured out the partnerships, the pivoting? What's the thing you wish you knew before you did the brick and mortar experience?
I wish I knew how much it would impact my personal relationships.
Mm,
I've seen lots of memes that say a customer will become your best friend and support you stronger than a family member or a best friend ever would. And that
wow.
has definitely hit hard. But at the same time, I'm kind of used to that in a way. But I never realized how true that really was. Like you want your family and your friends to support you, and I don't know if they get tired of it or they get jealous or what, but they kind of like, nah. But then you find that customer and you find that fan base that does love you and does support you, and it builds you up higher than you could ever be anyways. So it's like you give and take a little sometimes.
I love that because I think so many times for new business owners, we always think it's going to come from inside the house. You know how people say the voice came from inside the house?
Mhm.
And sometimes, and even in my own experience, I am discovering that the biggest cheerleaders are people outside of those areas. It's
Yep.
people that saying, you know what, I saw what you did and I really liked that. Or I
Yep.
really thought that was awesome sauce. And, you know, I feel everyone has their piece to them. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna throw a little side question in, y'all. I'm taking an audible. Give me a second, okay? So in this, I love how you talked about your hubby being your backbone and him really being that support and those partnerships and things of that nature. But now I want to zoom it all the way into you because everybody talks about, the business man or woman's morning routine. What does that look like for you? Are you that 5 o'clock person? Are you that person? Your face said it all. 5 o'clock is definitely not it for you. So, what is that routine for you?
So it starts with my 7-year-old who my little one who's now 7 wakes me
Okay.
up because we got to get ready for school and I got to take her to the bus stop. I roll out of bed and I roll up to the bus stop looking like that mom. And then in the afternoon, I look like a totally different mom because I'm put together and I'm awake.
I love that.
But
I love
I
the
come home
realness in
and
it.
yep, I come home and I get my breakfast and I start my work day. Currently I still have a remote job that I work I work my 40 hours. So I get going on
Okay.
that. My brain is ready to go as soon as I wake up. I've got thoughts and ideas and things I want to implicate and get in process. So mornings are really productive for me. By the afternoon, I'm kind of like, I've pretty much worked my 40 hours in one day, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, mornings are very, very productive for me. I also have horrible insomnia. So sometimes the best thoughts come when I can't sleep. So I keep a
Mm.
little notepad and I've literally written business plans laying in bed, not being able to sleep. I know it's
Wow.
weird.
Well, no, I don't find it weird. I'm gonna tell you why. I find everybody has their process, and it's interesting to hear that for you not being able to sleep, you were able to push and pump ideas.
Yeah.
I would be no good. My place for me is the shower. That's where everything
Yes.
pops. And if I'm like, we should do that. Yeah, you know what? That really works out well. Try that. Or you know what? Yeah, maybe you want to tweak this a little bit differently. So
Yeah.
I love that because I love just how everybody's routine is so different, but
Mhm.
it's custom made, just like we're custom created to have these experiences and to do those things that have us going, okay, so we have gone all around, but I have to ask you, what's the new project? I have to be asked, I have to be honest now. I was being a little nosy. They know me, they know I'm nosy. So I was being nosy and I was like, she got something big coming. But I was like, I gotta find out what it is because I
Yeah.
want to be the one to drop the exclusive. I don't want to be the last person. That's how I look, right? So talk to me about this new project.
Okay. So clearly I had a great brick and mortar business. I was being successful, but I was burnt out. And my
Mm.
heart has always said, I want to move to Florida. So when my oldest, who is 17, when he told me that, hey, mom, when I graduate, I'm moving to Florida, I'm like, okay, what are we waiting for? I closed my business last year. I liquidated everything I had and we moved my family from Ohio to Florida. Crazy,
Oh,
right? I was
okay.
I was making great money. I had a very successful business and everyone was like, "Why are you closing?" First of all, no one was worthy enough of taking over because it was my brand and it was my name and I couldn't
Oh,
find
okay.
anyone worthy enough, okay? So,
Mm.
that's that self-confidence right there. Um
Okay.
since moving to Florida, I have tinkered in a few little things, but I have found my calling in digital marketing. And I know that's like the new craze, and I thought it was too late to start. It is not. And what I am announcing on Wednesday is going to be mind blowing. My brain has been like a sponge for the last 3 months. I have just absorbed so much information and I've applied it and I've proven that it works. So I don't even know if I want to tell you yet, but I'm releasing 2 books, a digital course, and I'm
Okay.
rebranding my image completely on Wednesday.
All right, so y'all got to stay tuned because what I'm hearing is Wednesday we get the drop, and when all of this happens on Wednesday, we get a new Trisha. So
Yes.
we're getting a new woman with a new attitude, as Patty LaBelle would say, and I'm looking forward to it. So what I heard, we're getting a new brand,
Yep.
or revamping your brand, I should say,
Yep.
new brand, a digital course.
Yep.
This sounds really tasty.
I know. I know. I'm super excited. And I want to
Okay.
share, like, the passion of sharing and helping people is still there and it's still Canvas Creations. It's just a different way of sharing knowledge and guiding because I'm sharing the knowledge that I've learned that I've invested hundreds of dollars into. I'm sharing that for less than it's going to cost to fill up your gas tank.
Oh
And
wow.
that is what is so critical about what I'm doing because there's lots of other people doing it, but they're being greedy with it and they're gatekeeping it. And I hate that. It's not fair to gatekeep that knowledge that everyone could have access to. So
I love how you talked about the gatekeeping. I think for so many people, especially if those who make it, let me say it that way, those who make it and they make it big, it's like this is the
Mhm.
best kept secret. But I love that you're like, no, I'm ready to get, honey, get your glass, get your pitcher. I'm ready to spill all the tea. I want you to
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
that I can do it. Guess what? You can do it too. And not only that, I'm going to turn around and be that mentor for you to help you do that.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely amazing. I
Yep.
love it. I do. I love it. And I feel like this. Think about me too now, because I want to jump in here and find me some new avenues too.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's do this. Let's talk about it. Let's get
Yeah.
into it. This will be something awesome because you never know. And like you talked about that pivot for you, the pivot this time in the new chapter was your baby was going to Florida. You're like, wait a minute, hold on. You're not leaving me. We're going. And
No.
I don't blame you because so many times people don't realize it's the pivot that is the power.
Mhm.
So many of us get here and we forget that if I stay stuck in the old template, the old way, I'm gonna get the same old things I've been getting. But if
Mhm.
I pivot just right, man, I'm opening my doors to some whole new promises and powerful pieces.
Yeah.
So,
And
ooh, I'm
and
looking
it's
for y'all go ahead and check her out. How can they get to you with this? Because I'm telling you, this project is sounding really good. Don't
yeah.
forget me now. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
upset if you forget me.
No, girl. No, no, no. So my website will have everything. And it's super simple. It's ccfy.store. Yep.
CCFY.store.
Yep.
All right.
That's
Y'all
where
make
all
sure
the
y'all head
details will
on
be,
over.
all the links, all the drops, all the things.
All right. Y'all make sure y'all head on over. With that, I'm telling you, I'm just as pleased as punch. So I can't go no further. She has filled my cup for today. So listen, y'all, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to the Patrice Brantley Show. We're helping others is the name of the game. And on this show, we push purpose, positivity, and personal growth. I need y'all to make sure y'all catch me and check us out next week because we're going to be discussing a powerful story of one woman's daring escape from a dysfunctional system. Make sure you don't miss it. It's going to be a doozy. All right. You all have an amazing day. Just make sure you share this podcast with someone else.